If you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck, I want to show you the 70-20-10 rule. It's basically a simple framework that the financially free use to build wealth, no matter how much they earn. So whether you're making, say, $30,000 or $300,000 a year, this rule helps you control your money, avoid debt, and actually enjoy your life without feeling guilty. I want to break it down step by step and talk about how you can use it today. First up is your 70%, and this is basically the maximum amount of your income that should go to your monthly spending. This can include maybe your rent, food subscriptions, takeout, your gym membership, and yes, even your impulsive Amazon buys. Now you might think, I live in a high-cost area and I have to spend more than 70%. And I hear you, I also live in LA where everything has gone up and I still can't believe how much eggs and housing have gone up so much in the past couple of months. But here's the thing. If your lifestyle eats more than 70% of your paycheck, you're essentially putting a cap on your financial growth. So the goal here is in deprivation. Its optimization forces you to ask better questions like, can I downgrade my car, or can I meal prep at least 3 days a week? Or can I skip on upgrading my hotel room and put the difference into my savings account? When I was teaching full-time, I didn't make that much, but I stuck to my 70% rule by living with roommates, cooking my own food, driving my regular Honda Accord, and pretty much just living a very frugal lifestyle. And that's pretty much how I saved over $20,000 in 1 year on a teacher's salary. You see, the biggest trap that people fall into is this thing called lifestyle inflation. Every raise becomes a bigger house, a newer phone, or a more lavish vacation, but unless you keep your lifestyle below 70%, you're going to always feel like you're behind. Now let's talk about what actually goes into the 70%. Well, we can start by tracking your top 5 spending categories. Maybe it's housing, food, transportation, entertainment, and subscriptions. These are usually what make up the book. Once you identify those, then you can ask yourselves, well, are these expenses essential or emotional? Am I paying for comfort, convenience, or comparison? Because once you have this awareness, you can save hundreds every month. When I was tracking my expenses, I noticed that I had so many streaming services that I forgot to cancel. I literally had Netflix, Disney+, Max Showtime, and I even tried out Peacock, which I don't even understand why people have. The only good show on there that I feel is really just The Office, and that's pretty much it. But listen, you can totally just start small, cancel one subscription that you don't use, cook one more dinner at home per week, and maybe you can even bike instead of Ubering. These tiny wins add up fast and really keep the momentum going. Now on to the 20%, and this is going to be called your growth fund or money that you set aside for saving and investing. This is where your future self gets paid. And I mean it literally. For this 20%, we're going to break it down into 2 different parts. We're going to have half of it go into emergency savings and the other half go into long-term investing. Essentially, one of them gives you security while the other one helps you build your wealth. Let's start with your emergency savings, and this is kind of like your oh no or your life won't fall apart fund. Essentially, this is going to keep you from putting surprise expenses on a credit card or taking out a high-interest loan. Your primary goal here is to save 3 to 6 months of essential expenses, and this can include rent, groceries, insurance, and anything that keeps your life running. And if this sounds overwhelming, it's totally okay. You can start with $1,000 and you want to put this money into a high-yield savings account. So right now, I generally want to look for one that gives you at least 3 to 4% APY. When I was first building my emergency fund, I put away $50 to $100 every time I got paid from tutoring as students. And that money added up pretty quickly because I was very consistent with saving my money each time. Now you don't need to do this perfectly, just want to make sure that you pick a number that feels manageable and then set it on autopilots. And once you built your emergency fund, your basic cushion, you then want to shift your focus into investing. And this is really where long-term wealth is made. Remember, savings is good, it protects you by investing grows you. So I don't know if you know this, but if you were to invest, say $200 a month, starting at the age of 25 and get a 10% annual return, you'll have around $1 million by the time you are 65 years old, and that's just $200 a month. But a lot of people never reach this because they think that they need a lot of money to get started with investing, or they need to invest at the right time, which you don't. Because what really matters is that you have time in the markets, not timing the markets. So how do you get started? Well, step 1, you want to open a retirement brokerage account, something like a Roth IRA, which is my personal favorite. This account lets you grow and compound your money to say maybe $1 million if you're very consistent. And by the time you're 59 and a half years old, All this money is going to be tax and penalty free in 2025. You can contribute up to $7,000 a year if you're under 50. And that's, if you do the math, divide it down by 12 months, that's going to be around $583 a month. But even if you start with, say, $50 a month, you're already ahead of most people. Step 2, you want to then use that money to buy assets, right? This is a step that a lot of people forget. You want to make sure that you choose something very easy, something very simple, maybe like a low-cost index fund. I personally invest in ones that track the S&P 500, like SPY and SPology. And I also have some high dividend paying ETFs, like SCHD. But in the end, it's wholly up to you on what you want to invest in. You just want to make sure that you diversify in. Please, please, please stay away from meme stocks, penny stocks, IPOs, and these random cryptocurrencies and NFTs with monkeys on top. Okay, so you want to make sure that you stay responsible. Step 3, you want to automate your contributions. You want to make investing feel like a bill where it just happens without you thinking about it. And this was a mindset that I had to shift myself and a habit that I had to create because it really did change my life. When I first started investing, I didn't feel rich right away, but over time, I saw my investments quietly grow. This is really the power of compound interest. When you start, you're not going to see it or feel it at first, but I promise you, once you stick to it in the long term, you're going to be heavily rewarded. So just to recap the 20%, you want to first build your emergency fund and then automate your investments. And now we can get to the most overlooked parts of this whole entire plan, which is the 10%. Your joy fund. So I grew up with very frugal parents, and I used to skip this part because it came kind of natural to me when I was figuring out all my finances. I used to save and invest everything, and I ended up burning out. The joy fund exists to prevent that, where 10% is guilt-free spending. It's your money where you get to enjoy it right now. So for you, it might be travel or massages or getting ice cream at One or Less, which is by far the best ice cream there is out there. Sesame is my favorite one. But yeah, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you plan for this so that you don't overspend emotionally later. When I was teaching, I gave myself $150 a month for fun, and that's how I stay consistent with my bigger goals because I didn't feel deprived. And here's the thing, this is the best part. You don't have to earn this joy because it's built into the plan, because I really believe that budgeting shouldn't feel like some sort of punishment. It should feel like empowerment. Okay, so let's take a look at how all these numbers break down with real numbers. So we can say that you earn $5,000 a month. So with the 70-20, 10 split, $3,500 goes into monthly spending, $1,000 goes into your growth fund, like your savings and investing, like your Roth IRA, and $500 goes into your joy and guilt-free fund. And if you're not there yet, it's totally okay. You can always start off with baby steps with maybe the 85-10-5 ratio or even a 95-5 ratio, and from there you can start to adjust. And just remember, the whole point of this is to become intentional, not perfect. If you want to get started, here's a 5-step checklist. So step number 1, you want to track your spending. You really can't fix what you don't measure. You can use whatever it is that you're comfortable with tracking. You can use a spreadsheet, you can use a budgeting app like YNAB, or just go through your statements. Step 2, you want to calculate your percent of breakdown. So maybe you're spending 90% and saving 2%, and you want to make sure that you get your facts before we change anything. Step 3, you want to open a high-yield savings account, and this is where your emergency fund is going to live. And again, like what I said before, you typically want to look for an account that gives you at least 3 or 4 or maybe even 5% APY. Step 4, you want to invest in your retirement accounts, like your 401k or your Roth IRA, and you want to make sure that you automate this monthly. And step 5, my favorite one, you want to make sure that you pick one joy category and assign a number to it. So maybe it's $100 for a date night, or maybe $200 for a new hobby. And once you have all these steps done, you want to make sure that you check on your progress every month. So for me, I usually spend around 30 minutes on the first Sunday of each month, and I'll just sit down with my laptop, do a little bit of reflection. I'll see what's working, what's not working, and see what I can improve on with my goals. And really, this small habit alone made me more mindful and more confident with my money. Because the truth is, wealth is built by having systems. It's less about the hustle and more about the habits. And the 70-20-10 rule is a habit, it's a rhythm, it's a cadence that you follow. It's a way for you to put your money to work while you still enjoy your life now, not just 40 or 50 years later from now. And I promise that if you apply this for the next 6 months, you're going to be ahead of 90% of everyone else. And most importantly, you're going to feel in control. If you want to get started with investing, I highly recommend that you join my free investing class. I'll leave the link down below, and I'll see you in the next one.